Sennacherib, same thing, Assyrian, thought himself a god, decided to try to wipe out God's people. The angel, he goes home, and the angel was Lord of the Lord wipes out, I think it was 180,000 troops in one night or something like that. Interesting character. King of Tyre, you start reading about him. It starts off talking about a man, but then the description spins off into characteristics of Satan. So clearly he has some kind of affiliation with the devil. Antiochus Epiphanes. Now he would be in, depending on your Bible, would be in what, if you have your 66 book King James, you would say it's in the intertestament period. If you have the original King James, which had 80 books, you can read the Maccabees and see that he is there as a character who, if you know the account, you know, he went into the temple and set up a statue of Zeus on December 25th, incidentally, offered up a pig. And actually Maccabees, I think it's 1 Maccabees 4, if I'm not mistaken, tells you point blank that the act of bringing a pig into the temple and sacrificing it there was called the abomination of desolation. That's what it's called, bringing a pig into the temple. And as soon as we were reading this, Sheila says to me, she goes, wow, so what does that mean if we bring pig into our temple? Just food for thought. Alexander the Great is another interesting character that I could consider as an alternative to number 5. You know, you look at his life and what he did. He's the he-goat in the book of Daniel, and it says that he has a little horn between his eyes, and the little horn is the first king. I'm going, well, what's the first king? It was not the first king of Greece or anything else at that time. If it's representing the first king that we have any record of, biblically speaking, is Nimrod. So it seemed that he had done whatever he did in the similar rebellious fashion as Nimrod, to me anyway. The one that now is, at the time of John, that depends on when you think is, as Bill Clinton would say. What's the definition of is? Really, dude? That depends on when you think John wrote the book of Revelation. Some people believe that he wrote it before the destruction of the temple. Some people believe that he wrote it after the destruction of the temple. 90 AD is what I was raised to believe. Either way, you end up with a Caesar. It's either Nero or Domitian. Either one are good candidates. They always thought they were gods and certainly persecuted God's people. And then we read about one that will come, but his reign will be short. And I think a reasonable case could be made for Adolf Hitler. And I think a lot of people that lived during that time probably thought they were living in the tribulation. Speculation, of course. Let's look at Revelation 13 now. Somebody mentioned the deadly wound. Well, we got to keep this all in the same context. We're talking about the beast here. It says, and I saw one of the heads of the beast with 7 heads, as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Okay, so if we accept this list as a reasonable list for what's spoken of in Revelation 17, let's see who had a mortal head wound. Well, Nimrod did. According to Joshua, Esau cut his head off. That's a head wound. Pharaoh at the time of Egypt did not. Sennacherib did not. King of Tyre did not. Antiochus Epiphanes, no. Alexander the Great, no. Nero, sort of. It's said that he stabbed himself in the throat, and by the Hebrew reckoning, you might consider that part of the head proper. So let's, for the sake of argument, say that he's a candidate. And according to history, supposedly Hitler shot himself in the head, although recent forensic evidence says otherwise, that the skull was actually that of a female and that he escaped to either Antarctica or Argentina, but that's a whole other seminar.